This is Threadheads, Episode 3. Jason Spangler here with Brad England. We're filming this at night, so Brad, you have a nice little dark window behind you. We might see some car lights going by. How are you doing tonight?
Jason, I'm doing good, man. I do have to say I watched the last video we shot, and I thought maybe I should preface this with I don't always look like this, but it is No Shave November. So kind of growing the beard out, I know in the Threadheads picture, I just got the guy with the goatee. That's what I usually look like, but since there's No Shave November, I had to grow the beard out, man. But so speaking of November, though, I hear you had some time working on learning how to sell cookies for the Girl Scouts.
Oh man. So I'm not the cookie mom. Let me back up and say that, but my wife is going to be the cookie mom for our Girl Scout troop, and so I sort of slid in and attended the meeting they had Monday, and this was just for our county, which is a pretty small rural county, so maybe there were like 20 women there. But it turns out the county I live in, they take cookie sales deathly serious. And maybe this is a knock on Girl Scouts, and I shouldn't say this, but it seems like in my county, cookie sales probably come above camping and just about any other activity when it comes to Girl Scouts. Now, our particular troop that I'm involved with, we have the sort of old scout rule of do one trip a month. And so we've gone camping already, primitive camping. We're going camping again in a couple of weeks, and we're doing a lot of stuff. But some of these other troops I have discovered don't really do a whole lot. They sell a heck of a lot of cookies, and then they take a big monster trip at the end of their scout year, like maybe they go on a cruise or they go to New York for a week or something like that, just a big vacation kind of thing, and that's what they do with their cookie money, and that's just not what I do. But anyways, yeah, some of these troops that, and again, small rural area of North Carolina, one troop that the lady mentioned, they order something in a magnitude of about 1,100 cases of cookies. So I think 500 cases would be 6,000 boxes. So this troop might be more than 10 or 12,000 boxes of cookies. Pretty crazy. And the funny thing was they were talking about the cookie booths, and they literally were sort of like, putting it out there. If you don't follow the rules with cookie booths, we're going to come chase you down or something. Because I guess there's a competition between all the troops about how you're supposed to sell the cookies. So, but this is more of a scouting collectors for the Boy Scout side show. So I know you're about to get started with popcorn. Why don't you? I'll throw it back to you, Brad, and you can tell us if Boy Scout popcorn is anywhere near as crazy as Girl Scout cookies.
No, absolutely not. And I'm in the same boat as you, Jason. We both have daughters. I have the one, and so I have cookie training in a couple of weeks. But as of right now, I'm a Boy Scout, and we just wrapped up our popcorn sale. And man, I tell you, the girls have got it down with selling cookies. But I know, but we sold a ton of popcorn, and by the end of the first week in December, I will be so tired of popcorn, tired of smelling like popcorn, I'll be done. So thank goodness it's almost over. I know most councils are almost done, and man, it's a lot, man. So glad it's almost over.
Well, Brad, let's move into some segments. We've got some ideas tonight we want to talk about, and one of the first segments we have is this idea of filming some short little videos to help the hobby out. And actually, this is a suggestion that we already kind of had among ourselves, and then in asking for feedback, someone actually gave you that idea. So can you kind of tell us what some thoughts have been going through your head about that?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first talked about it, Jason, one of the things we talked about was doing videos that we knew would be frequently asked questions, those topics that would come up, how to store your patches. We probably should turn that, one of the last segments kind of into a short video or something like that. There's so many topics that we could shoot about that it could just be informative, short videos, maybe 10-minute videos that we can direct new collectors to, or people that are interested in getting into certain areas, or even possibly diving in deeper to some of the areas we touch on with the show that we're doing. Um, so, I love the input everybody's giving me, and continue giving us some input so that we know what to shoot these videos for. Because as Jason and I have explained before, we're all about making the hobby better and bringing as much resource that we can to the hobby. So hopefully, with the holiday season coming up, I think I'm going to play around and shoot a few small videos. We'll obviously post those on the scoutpatchcollectors.com website, and get some good content up there. So we definitely want to cover things that you guys want to know about.
Yeah, I think that one thing we're trying to do with this website is make it more video friendly, and certainly in today's society, younger people, they really consume videos a lot. I think if we wrote a book or something and published it, very few younger people would read that. But with their smartphones and everything, they can just watch a YouTube video super easy. And so we're kind of trying to just do something a little different with this scoutpatchcollectors.com website. And of course, that's the idea with Redheads. Brad, I've actually got a couple of videos that I've been working on along this lines, and I've really got them very close to being finished. I just have to polish them up a little bit. I've got most of the actual filming done. I just got to put it into a software program and kind of, put a little polish on it, make it, and get it published. One of those is actually based upon the idea of how do you identify insignia, rank insignia. And what I did was I had my own collection that I had just a bunch of stuff in unorganized, was not together, and I had a copy of Paul Meyer's excellent resource book here. This one's Collecting Boy Scout Rank Badges. And so what I was trying to do was take his reference book and my loose patches and then actually put them into piles, organize them, figure out of all the first class badges I have, which one was this version and this version and that version. And what I did was try to take some video of me doing that and kind of talking through how I did that and using the book. And the idea being that someone came behind me and watched the video, they could sort of get an idea of what are the major differences, how did Paul Myers kind of break it down, and go from there. So I don't have the video finished yet, but hopefully here, definitely in the next week or two, I should set aside time to do that. And of course, we'll post it on scoutpatchcollectors.com. So if you're seeing this video of Threadheads later, go to the website and look for that. One more I'm doing is working on this idea of frames, and I don't have a visual to show you here, but I've been building these frames that I'm using to do displays at scout shows and conclaves and stuff like that. And so I have a video that I filmed kind of showing how I put the frames together. Again, so if somebody wanted to come back behind me and build a similar frame using that idea, they would have a little bit of a leg up on how to do that. So those are a couple videos I'm working on. So again, I think if people want to send us feedback, we've been giving out your address and beengland@gmail, and we might actually be coming up with some Threadhead specific email addresses that we'll share in the future. We haven't got that nailed down yet. So Brad, anything else about the videos?
No, Jason. I think we pretty much touched on everything. I really think that that to have some good resources like that for everybody is going to be really good. And just to kind of give some thought, we've also looked at talking about some of the videos, looked at doing some remote videos and stuff. We were talking earlier about some tradery videos. So guys, definitely keep an eye out for that. Us doing some Threadhead shows from the Dallas Tradery and Jensen's Tradery, and hopefully we're shooting some videos at NOAC.
Definitely. In fact, if you go to scoutpatchcollectors.com and you search 2009 NOAC, you can actually find some videos I took back then of patch trading at the NOAC, and I literally held a camera up above my head and kind of walked through the scrum of patch collectors in one of the evening trading sessions, and that's kind of a fun little video to watch. So, and Brad, as you mentioned, for this Dallas Tradery idea, you're going to be at the Dallas Tradery. I'm going to be at a tradery on the very same weekend in South Carolina, and so we're experimenting with a way of how could we do a show, a remote show, and you be in Dallas and I be in South Carolina, and us film this show, but also be able to show people what's happening at the Traderie. So we're trying to, go where no show has gone before. We're going to see if that works or not. It might be a failure, but we're going to try. So.
I think it'll be great, Jason. It'll be fun.
Well, why don't you throw it over to you, Brad, and pick us up this next segment we want to talk about, which is resource books, talking about some resource books that we just can't live without.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. The Insignia resource book you just showed me, I actually haven't used that, but I probably should. I have a small collection of those items, insignia and stuff, and I've never actually looked at that resource book. But I guess you guys know me enough from the Facebook group. Jason, you and I talking. I'm a big OA collector from the old Region 9. So today, what I want to share with you is my favorite resource guide. I obviously use several of them, but I'm going to use your Google Hangouts trick here, Jason. I'm going to do the screen share here, and if this works right, my face will go off the screen, and you will actually see the cover of the Warshield 2011. Are we up, Jason?
I see it.
Awesome. Great. This is an awesome tool. This resource is really awesome. You see the people on the front. Of course, Tracy Messler is the head guy here that does the Warshield. He gets some other guys that help contribute. Mike Payne, actually my lodge advisor when I was lodge chief for Wissawanek as a youth. Later on section advisor. So a bunch of my mentors in patch trading and stuff right there. But I want to kind of show you this. This is old Region 9, which would be Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. So this cover page just has kind of some issues from throughout those states. But this originated from the Blue Book listing. So take you through some pages here. You do a quick scroll. Let's get down here to a good lodge. Let me find a good one. So you see every lodge. I just scrolled basically through everything. These quick little scroll through pages here. Probably the best lodge in the book right here. So I get an opportunity to show you. This is my home lodge. Each chapter, and Tracy does this on it's all PDF. This edition actually came out through Dropbox. I think he sells it for $10, and then he gives you permissions to go through to use them. And I think that's the plan with the new one. We're actually working on the new one right now. I'm doing some edits for him for a few of the sections. Wissawanek was my home lodge, so I'm working on that. But I'm going to zoom in here. I'll show you. It doesn't just have patches in it. There's a little bit about the history of the lodge, the legend, some patch notes. Talking about the R1 being a really tough issue, and then a lot of the mistake issues we had come along the way. But there's that, and then you get to the next page is actually where the listing starts. So it starts with the first issue, the R1 in 1940 something. And then of course the F1, F2, and it has this complete listing, and every lodge has this, and it's in order by year. So there's J's in there, there's chenilles in there. Unlike OA Images where it splits it up by FS, X, R, C, that kind of stuff, he actually listed in real order here. So, and he put some dates here. On the new one we're working on, we actually have a lot more of this where it says 100 total made out here to the side. We actually have a column that says how many made, so we're trying to document that a little bit more in the new version. So that's the first half of it, and then the second half of it is actually the images of the patches. So there's the image of the R1 that we talked about listing F1, F2, and it goes all the way through, all the issues there. And then he has event patches and stuff listed. But what's really cool is he's done this, like on these issues right here, Jason. This is kind of cool. He's got a little box there next to the issue number. So you can actually print this out. He used to print it and sell a printed version. Now I think he does all in PDF, but you can actually print this out and have your little checklist. So you might check your box off if you've got those issues. A really great resource. A lot of time, energy, and stuff put into this. It's what I use to collect everything from Region 9, which is Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico again. So awesome resource. He leaves some additional space there in case you need to add anything. I've made notes on mine. This is in my Dropbox, so I can pull this up on my cell phone anytime. And I've also have some edited versions of this, of things that I need on my Dropbox. So if I'm at a traderie, I can find things. So here's the last little piece there. Event patches. He has those listed on there as well. And then other sectional issues and fakes. He even lists his home lodge is Wichita 35. So he lists a lot of things like prototypes that were made. Like these right here are prototypes or unidentified from the lodge. And the idea behind that is he figures if anybody ever finds those out of his collection someday or something, that they can be identified as not missing issues but actual prototypes or whatever they are. So that's basically what I've got for you, Jason. The Warshield, we're working on the 2014 version. Hopefully, when I talked to Tracy last time, roll that out by the time the Dallas Trader rolls around.
That's great, man. And I think maybe in some future episodes of Threadheads we could show some other reference books. I know that I recently got a copy of the California Green Book, which was a state-based book. Another trade I got a copy of a Massachusetts OA book. There's been several state books, but I think the thing that separates the Warshield is it's still an actively updated project, and I think that's what separates it. Let me show you what I've got to show on this front. This is a topic that I have been working on lately. I've got it in a notebook here. It's a 3-reminder. This is Jim Clough's book on senior scouting collectibles, and this is, again, another project that I've been working on lately where I've been taking, as you said, Brad, things that I've had sitting in boxes that I didn't really know what they were, and I finally dumped them out on a table and started to organize what they are. And so when it comes to things such as old Explorer patches, Air Scout, Sea Scout, that kind of stuff, this book, which I believe was published in 1995, it's got a little date on it now, is probably the best reference book itself. Just to show you a little bit of the inside, it's not in color. This is 1995, so it's not in color, but he goes into a nice little history about the idea of senior scouting, which included explorers and air scouts and all that kind of good stuff. And then he breaks it down by chapters. He has chapters according to ones. So if you look at the patches, for that technology, it's pretty well done. He probably had black and white pictures that he used here, and then he inserted them in the book. Color pictures would be much better because some of these, there's just some color differences that are really hard to tell. But it has helped me a lot sort of understand what is out there, and then also understanding that in this program it was kind of weird because some patches got reused even though the program changed. They might have kept the patches. So it gets a little tricky trying to figure out exactly what was issued, but it's a really nice resource book. Of course, you can see in here Air Explorers, and there's one of my big needs, Brad. Air Scout Ace medal. Anybody watching this video, contact me. I need one of those. I've got some nice medals, but I don't have that Air Scout Ace one. That's a real tiger to get. So, but the other cool thing about this is that I have recently found out, just in the last couple of days actually, that there's a guy who took this book and then built on it and built a website where he does have color pictures. And so in the show notes page on scoutpatchcollectors.com, I'll have his name and a link to his website where you can go and you can actually see color pictures of all that stuff included in a lot. And he's also had more research that he's done. So this is kind of a topic I'm sort of interested in, is senior scouting, explorers, air scouts, all that good stuff. Unfortunately, it's kind of an expensive thing to get into, and I'm not sure that I'm wealthy enough to complete any of these collections, but it'll be fun to play with. So we'll kind of go for it. Anything else, Brad?
Well, that's what I got right now on the resources. Maybe we were talking earlier about shooting some of these small videos. Maybe I'll shoot a little more informative video on when the next Warshield comes out, or I'll drop a note on Facebook where people can get a copy of it. But I know there's several more resources out there. We've barely been able to touch on things. I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention, Jason, that ISCA has actually put together a committee that's working on OA listings, and I believe they're working on some council strip stuff as well. So I think we're going to see some more streamlining of these books, hopefully uniformity with how some things are being listed and stuff. So yeah, these resources are great. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. I mean, even though technology is catching up, I think we're still looking for ways to document what's coming out.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem with some of these reference books is they're not easy to get. Jim Clough's book, I mentioned there's probably not another recent book on senior scouting collecting, but you'd be hard-pressed to find that book for sale anywhere. I'm just not sure that it's in print anymore or anybody has a copy to sell. So that is kind of an issue, and it would be great to preserve some of this knowledge. And as you mentioned, ISCA is working on a couple of projects. They're partnering with the Scout Patch Auction to further the Blue Book 2.0 project, and then also I believe councilstrip.com is now under ISCA, and they're trying to work to update that. So, Brad, let's go ahead and move into our next segment, though. We have a mailbag segment, and I'll kind of kick it off there with a couple things that I've gotten in the mail. One of them was kind of cool. Some people that collect CSPs might be interested in this. A friend of mine is going through Wood Badge in the Cape Fear Council, and he was able to get one of these, and he traded with me for something that he needed from our old council lodge. And this is a Wood Badge and Inlets CSP. I guess it's a limited edition. It says number 267 of 350 issued. And so I do kind of collect Cape Fear Council, which is in the part of North Carolina that I'm from. So this is definitely a need. It's kind of a hard patch to get. One other mailbag thing, a couple other things I've got here in the mail. It's always fun on eBay when you can buy stuff from your area and you can get it for such a good price, and like you can really appreciate it, right? So these are 2 camp patches from my home camp, Camp Coker, and they're patches that I probably have dupes on. Like I probably have a stack like this of each of these. But I got this pair of patches for 15 bucks. And both of these are from the early 60s. This one's like 60, 61. This is like 62, 63. They're mint condition. So to get like these, 50-some-year-old patches from my camp for like 7 bucks each, that was such a deal. I couldn't pass it up. And one last thing for my mailbag. Another collection I've been dabbling in that I probably will never finish, but I'm kind of getting started in is I've started kind of collecting as I can come across them old OA conclave issues from the time when we had 12 regions. So region 1, 2, all the way down through 9. And so I had sort of a nice little core collection of this already from buying different collections and stuff and just holding on to those. And so now I've just started going out seeing if I can find them inexpensively on eBay. So this one's actually from Florida. This is Area 6E patch, and I just got this in the mail. I got a little package here that's got some other conclaves. All of these are 1972 and before, so like 1950 to 72 would have been the time period. And I just like them because I think they're classic patches. I'm kind of an OA collector at heart, like you are, Brad. And so if I'm going to collect patches from other lodges, I kind of like the idea of collecting conclave patches because they're a lot of times they have really neat Native American, design themes, and they're classic old embroidery. So it's kind of a fun thing for me. Speaking of OA, what do you have in your mailbag this week, Brad?
I've got a couple of great things. Yeah, actually, hey, I like your conclave stuff. Well, that old Swiss embroidery stuff is just beautiful, right? I mean, I collect Tossawa Lodge at 138 out of Tulsa, and their original Ordeal Brother Vigil stuff was that Swiss embroidery, just beautiful patches, So I got a couple things. I always have OA stuff, but I actually finished up a trade this week that I had been working on with a gentleman probably for the last 6 months. But so I got some cool new things in the mail. I got some. Check this out, Jason. The Con Wapos charter member flap and
Ooh.
the standard flap. So it's one of the new lodges. I like to pick up some of the new stuff. Got this pretty nifty looking chenille patch, and I
Nice.
thought that cougar is just awesome looking, man. It's fierce. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't throw in some beautiful Texas stuff. Out of all the lodges in Texas, the Gila Lodge out of um, Yucca Council, man, they make some just beautiful patches. This lodge actually does some interesting stuff, Jason. They put out a new patch at every event. They don't do event patches anymore. They do lodge flaps. So I mean, I think this was actually a journey to excellence. There's a couple of versions of this, and then that hawk I showed you was from their last event, and then they made this beautiful like two-piece ceremony set, and you can't really see, but up here in the corner it says POBV. I'm guessing that's pre-ordeal, ordeal, brotherhood, and vigil ceremony teams. So they always put out some really neat stuff. It's nice seeing getting some cool patches, and that's pretty much what I got this week. Oh, I got a couple of Micanaqua 101 stuff out of Texas. Always make some pretty cool patches too. So those are a couple lodges that I'm not really deep in. So I just kind of like you with the conclave stuff. I start picking it up when I can find it at a good price or trade for it. So I'm pretty happy with a few of the things I got this week. So it's pretty exciting to wrap up some trades and get some new cloth.
All right, Brad, we have time for one more segment, and I'm going to use the screen share feature. You used it flawlessly a minute ago, so I don't know if I can get it to pull off just as easy. Let's see if I can or not. I think I can make it work. So what I want to show here is I'm kind of anal about wanting to have labels for displays and things like that. And I already mentioned in previous Threadheads episodes that I'm interested in putting together displays. So what I'm working on here, Brad, is I have an OA name and number collection. It's got a lot of holes in it, but if I want to display this, I don't want to just have a flap and no context, no information. And so what I've started dabbling with is coming up with a way to take a spreadsheet that has interesting information and then build it into labels that I can print and post the labels underneath the patches. This is just a prototype kind of experiment of what I'm working on, and I've already decided I'm not going to do it this way. But you can see what I'm trying to do here. I have like the lodge number, the name. This is the date it was chartered. This was the totem, and then the council and the headquarters city and state. And so for Sanhegan or Mincy or any of these lodges, I could print that out and then put that underneath the patch. I've actually decided what I think I'd rather have than the totem is maybe have some information about when it merged, if it was superseded or merged or things like that, because you can't fit everything in here. So I'm still playing with the format for this idea of having basically labels that would be for an entire OA collection, every lodge ever existed. The problem is the database that I'm building this off of, I believe, came from the last version of the Blue Book, which was 2006. And just as you were showing us a flap there that you just got in recently, one problem I have is that there's been a lot of changes since 2006. And so I've got to go into that original spreadsheet and basically update all the lodges to bring it up to current. And then, of course, the problem I'll have then is that there's mergers going on right now, right? There's something weird happening in Chicago with those Indiana, this councils in Illinois, Indiana, and there might be some mergers there. So it's just always in flux. As soon as you stick it in your frame with a label, that's when they're going to merge and make a new thing. But I'm kind of experimenting with that. So anything that I come up with, I'll be glad to share it on our website as kind of a resource for anyone, and they can copy that spreadsheet and use it however they want. But there is and going back to why I'm doing this, there is a checklist at scouttrader.org. That's the ISCA website, but it's simply a checklist that has active lodges, and it has the name and the number, and that's it. And if I'm going to do like a display and show it to people who are not big collectors, I want them to be able to see where is this patch from? When was it active? What council? Just more information. And so that's why I'm kind of playing with that little idea. So that's kind of it's not an eBay ninja trick tonight for our last segment, but that's kind of how I'm going to end it. And I'm going to throw it over to you, Brad, and kind of let you wrap it up and close us out tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Hey, I like the labels. I think I'm always doing the same thing, trying to figure out a way to label collections and stuff. So always, the great thing about the show so far is every time we've posted the last couple of shows, we always get someone that says, hey, have you thought about this or thought about that? So not only watch the show, but just follow the thread under it. Today there was a thread you guys talked about, some more shipping stuff from the last show. So, yeah, it's great to see and get other feedback, and the whole theory and idea behind the show is to help the hobby. So we'll continue to do so. But yeah, Jason, hey, appreciate your time. I know we've put some time and effort into making the show as good as we could. Let's, this week is Thanksgiving, so let's enjoy some time with the family and try not to do too much patch trading with all that time off that you're going to have, because I'm off of work on Thanksgiving Day, the day after, and then there's the weekend, so I'm going to have a lot of time to play patches unless the family vetoes that. So, hey, appreciate you guys watching, continuing to watch. Please make any comments, shoot me an email. My email address, bgengland@gmail.com. Catch me on Facebook or Jason, or comment on any of the shows we post.